Adam, tough one to take?
Look, it's a massive blow for us, that. Genuinely think for us to lose that game is just incredibly cruel on the players, because I just don't think they threatened us really. I think Jonah made one save in the first half up to his right, and outside of that I thought we were solid, thought we were organised, thought they didn't really threaten us. We were pretty much camped in their half all second half. Didn't do enough to obviously score, but we looked solid. It looked like it was just going to end up a 0-0 game, which we could take some positives from, but to go and lose and turning over the ball in their half and go and lose again is just another massive blow for us.
It is trying to find positives, isn't it, at times like this, to try and get crumbs of comfort and move on from there.
Yeah, but that's my job. I've got to find positives from every performance, even the defeats. Obviously, we're having too many of those at the moment. I felt we looked solid throughout the game, and that's something that we obviously need to be. But we're having an issue putting the ball in the net. We've obviously worked hard this week, got a couple of strikers in who we just rolled the dice today, to be fair, put them together. They've had one session together, which is not ample time for them to forge any kind of understanding, but we just felt we needed something different up there, and we just didn't really create enough clear-cut opportunities, and probably the half opportunities that we had, we just didn't make the most of. But if you can't win, don't lose, and to go and then lose it, it's just a massive blow for us.
Obviously, the reaction of the players when that goal went in, down on the knees, and it summed it all up.
Yeah, and I think that would have probably been the reaction of whichever team had scored first, because naturally, we're suffering with confidence. But we can't feel sorry for ourselves, and we can't be too down, because we've got 19 massive games left now. So yeah, we've got to pick ourselves up quick.
How are you finding it now? Is the pressure mounting it with every game with you personally?
There's been pressure on every game since I came, to be honest, because we were rock bottom of the league with 8 points when I came here. So I know the situation's not massively better than we felt we'd be in a better position than by this point than what we are. Obviously we're not. But there's pressure every game. There's expectation from obviously the supporters, there's expectation from obviously the chairman, and naturally, like any football club, if you're getting bad results, it's the manager who all the eyes are on. That's just the nature of the role that I'm in. So I always put myself under more pressure than anybody could ever put on me. So I'm absolutely gutted, because I work hard. Sam works hard. The players have worked hard again this week, and I didn't think we deserved to lose that game again, but we have, and that's the reality of the situation.
And they do work hard. I mean, Morrison and Hargreaves in the middle of the park, for example, just tireless, aren't they? But it's just that, as you say, the end product where it matters.
Yeah, it is, and look, it's the hardest thing to do, score goals, and that's why strikers cost the most money and they're the hardest to get. I spoke after the Boston game, about us trying to get a striker in who I think he would have made a massive difference. Didn't get him. We've obviously took Harley and Owen in this week, but you know what? Harley's had 2 sessions with us. Owen's had 1. Bart's been struggling a little bit with his ankle, and Jordan Ponticelli's out injured again now. So it's tough. It's tough. It's not for a lack of trying on both the players and on my part. But it is the hardest thing to do. It's generally why the strikers get paid the most money, and you have to pay the biggest fees for them. So, we're not a million miles away. I really believe that. We've lost, too many games, and I'm well aware of that. And I accept responsibility for that as the manager. It's my job to do that. I'm not going to, hide away and blame other people for it. A lot of those games that we've lost, we've actually been banging them, and we're not getting rolled over 3-4-0, and we're not that far away, and that's why we've all got to just stay calm, stick together, and keep working hard.
Talk about creative creativity, inventiveness, if you like. I mean, obviously Josh Barrett is one of those who can make a difference. But is he not quite fit at the moment?
Well, no, he's obviously struggled with injury and illness around Christmas time. So yeah, he's not quite right.
And it's people. You need people who really do put a shift in there, don't you? Yes, there are 19 games. Yes, there's a lot of points. But as every game ticks by, it becomes more difficult for you.
Of course it does. Absolutely it does. I mean, this game's obviously been built up today, as a massive game. But they're all massive games. When you're in the bottom four, every game's a big game. This was always going to be a difficult game for us today, and because obviously they changed the manager and they were naturally going to get a lift from that. And we came through that first half that was fairly, balanced really. Second half, I felt we really grabbed the game and controlled the game, played a lot of it in their half. We just didn't do enough to score, and then to go and concede that goal is just a massive blow for us. But every game's just as important. The next one's obviously now, a really important game. But even if we'd have won today, we've still got 19 massive games left. So I can understand everybody's disappointment and frustration, but we've got to just keep working.
Of the new arrivals, were you pleased with what you got from them today? I know they haven't had much time to bed in.
I felt Harley could have done better. It takes time for new players coming in to understand what you want from them. I felt he could have had a bigger impact on the game. I felt Owen competed incredibly well, gave us a bit of a platform, got into a scrap with the centre halves, and certainly more stuck up there with him today. But he's not been playing regular football, so he will get better the more games that he plays. And again, the lads in and around him, they've got to understand how to use him, what he wants to do, and how we can, obviously maximise his attributes.
And we were saying towards the end when it was 0-0, we were thinking just need something off at the knee or something just to give you a kick in the right direction.
Yeah, and what I would say is that the lads, they're getting no luck, really not getting rub of the green. We could do with one going in off somebody's arse or something, because that's the way it is. But when you're down there and when things are going against you, and we've had things going against us since day dot, and obviously it's tough, and people will not have any idea how difficult this job at the minute is. There's always people that think that they can do the job better, but we'll be all right. But we've got to stick together.
You're very confident we'll be all right, but those results ain't coming if they don't keep coming.
Yeah.
Or not keep coming.
Yeah.
It's trouble, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm under no illusion that we have to start winning games quickly. When we first came in, we were rock bottom. We were quite out of touch with the teams above us. I know we've not been winning games, and we've been struggling, and we haven't been as good as I would have liked us to have been. Certainly here, we've not got anywhere near enough points from our home games. We've done well in many of them and deserved more in some, but we've not got enough points. That's something that we've got to be honest and realistic about. But we've got to keep going. The situation is better than it was when I came into the club, in the sense that we're not rock bottom and we're not way out of touch of the teams above us. But we do need to get a win or two just to get a better confidence within the players, and obviously to get us out of that bottom four and get us in and around the teams in that pack that's just above us. So I'm realistic about the situation. I know I've been standing here on numerous occasions saying that I think we'll be fine, and I know that performances, we've been competing a hell of a lot better in many games, but we're just lacking that little bit to do the hardest thing, which is score.
You've brought a couple in quite quickly under the radar. There is a lot of talk that you might be losing a defender. 2 questions on that. Are you going to be losing a defender? Have you got somebody else lined up?
past, I mean, there's been a lot of rumours obviously going round about the player in question, but it's kind of he's our player, he's contracted to us, and the club that wants him, they've kind of moved the goalposts a little bit from a deal that was agreed. So like any player, there's many players I want, but I can't get them unless we give the club they're contracted to what they want, and that's where we are. If they honour what was agreed initially with the chairman, then that will probably happen, because whilst we don't want to be losing our best players at this stage of the season, when players are out of contracts and their heads maybe elsewhere, we've got to do the right thing for the club in the long term. So the ball's well and truly in the club in question's court. To answer the second part of that, we've identified numerous players that could potentially come in and fill that void, but we can't really do anything until we know what the lay of the land is on maybe any outgoings. So it's up in the air a little bit, as it has been now for a few weeks.
And there's a lot of we're not naming names here, but when a name gets put out into the public domain, which it seems to do around these parts, you can see how the rumours start.
And I just can't get my head around it. It drives me absolutely insane that things that should be kept behind closed doors get leaked. It's just ridiculous, and I will get to the bottom of where it's coming from, and because it just doesn't help. Just doesn't help. Things should be the job is difficult as it is. When you've got somebody within whose best interests are meant to be the club's best interests, so having spreading rumours or letting things out the bag early doors doesn't help me, doesn't help the chairman, doesn't help the players, just doesn't help at all. They think they're being clever, they're not. So if it's anybody within my group, they'll be gone, because that's not the way that I work. And you've got to be able to trust. Football's a game full of snakes and full of people who you cannot trust. You need to trust people, and if there's anybody in there that's leaking things out that are making mine and the club's job even harder, then I'll get to the bottom of it, and that'll be the end.
I don't want to follow this up with a question about an individual, but because it sounds like we're linking it. But going back to Josh Barrett, is Josh not an option off the bench?
Well,
because he's obviously got that talent, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, but it's up to Josh really. You've got to. We're in a relegation scrap, and I need people that are going to work hard for the team when they're on the pitch. I can't have people. I think, and listen, I've been honest with Josh, and he knows, because we've had the conversation. I thought his last performance here against Banbury was unacceptable. There was things that kind of led to why that was the case. He'd had things going on that he hadn't brought to our attention, and that affected his performance on that day. But when you're in a relegation fight and you're the manager, you need at least 11 players on the pitch that are going to fight tooth and nail for 95 minutes and put a shift in. There's always speculation around what's going to happen with Josh. So there has been one or two people that have inquired about him, and I think that's maybe unsettled him a little bit as well. So there's always way more going on, and much of which you can't always disclose, like as a manager, although you'd love me to. There's always way more going on that kind of results in the decisions and the actions that you take as a manager. So. Of course he's an option, but he's got to be mentally, physically ready and prepared. And if he does that, then we know that technically there's no issues, because he's got amazing ability.
Just one question on Josh Barrett from myself. Did obviously the injury he got come exactly the wrong time? Because I know Sam had been working with him personally, and he seemed to be getting a lot fitter, and now it seems as though he may have gone backwards again.
Yeah, I mean he obviously got injured before, I can't remember off the top of my
It was in training, wasn't it?
He got injured in training before the Blythe game. It was. At which stage we were in decent form, to be fair, and he obviously got injured. He was out for, I think, 4 or 5 weeks, and he came back, trained in the period where we had no game for 2 weeks. Obviously, didn't perform in the first half against Banbury anywhere near to the level that we would expect from any player, just in terms of effort, really, and physical output. And then since then, he's had illness over Christmas, and we kind of are where we are. So. I forgot your question now, but Sam was doing a lot of work with him, but you can only do so much from our side. We train right. The players are a lot fitter now. That's enabling us to compete better for full 90 plus minutes in games. Think back to the first game, Buxton, we blew up after 65 minutes, and that had been the case in the Oaks. So we're trying to get the players fit whilst we're competing for points. That is so difficult. And somebody like Josh, he'd be playing in the Football League now if he'd have had one of my pre-seasons, because the kid's got unbelievable talent. But in the position that we're in, whilst we need quality, we need people who can physically do what we need them to do, just to give yourselves a chance to compete in this league. So there's, we can do what we do from mine and Sam's side with the training and the work that we get the lads to do, daily in the gym and stuff. But players have also got to make sure that they're doing their bit when they're away from us, in terms of what they're doing, what they're eating, what they're drinking, how they're fueling their bodies, how active they're being, to keep themselves in the condition that a full-time footballer should be in.